皆さん、こんにちは。アルファアドバイザーズの坂下です。今日は、ケンブリッジMbaゼミということで、欧州世界最高峰の MBA、ケンブリッジ大学のビジネススクールのアドミッションに来ていただいています。で昨年もですね、ケンブリッジの MBA にはアドミッションとか在校生の方が、アルファの YouTube でいろいろお話をしてくださったんですけども、今回も、MBA のプログラムの説明、それから卒業生がどんな就職先に行っているのかとかですね、あとはケンブリッジ MBA ならではのプログラムの特色などをお話していただきます。でアルファでも今まで15年間 MBA、社会人の方の MBA 留学サポートしてきて、でイギリスは最近、現地就職しやすいようなビザも出てきましたし、実際に現地就職されている方もアルファでもイギリスの MBA 行って現地就職されている方もいますし、あとは何といっても、外資コンサルですね、マッキンゼーとか、ボストンコンサルティングとか、それから、外資金融、あとは、テクノロジー、GAFA なんかも先入っている方も多い学校になってます。で、イギリスの場合はですね、英語にハードル高いんじゃないかなって思っている方もいらっしゃるかもしれないんですけれども、まずはテストをクリアすれば、行けば英語も上達しますし、本当に素晴らしい、ケンブリッジの環境で学べればですね、グローバル人材としても通用できる経営人材となっていくことができますので、ぜひご興味がある方はいつでもご相談いただければと思います。で、今ちょうど3月の中旬なんですけども、だいたい次ですね、ケンブリッジの MBA 締め切りが9月に来ます。9月がファーストラウンド、2024年入学の最初の締め切りになりますので、まだ半年間あるので、十分テスト、スコアの勉強もできますし、ケンブリッジっていうと、やっぱりもうスーパーエリートっていうイメージを持っている方もいて、ハードル高いなと思う方もいらっしゃるかもしれないんですけれども、テスト対策をしっかりやって、あとはレジュメ、エッセイ、それから面接、あと推薦状ですね、アピールすることができれば、結構ね、いろいろな方にチャンスがありますので、ぜひ、ちょっとでも興味あるなとか、もうやっぱりケンブリッジっていう学歴をですね、手に入れたいっていう方なんかはいつでもご相談いただければと思います。で、今日は英語でセッションをやっていくんですけれども、皆さんからのご質問も受け付けますし、質問は日本語でも構いませんので、ぜひコメント欄に入れていただければと思います。はい。ということで、始めていきたいと思います。So, thank you for your time today, Charlotte. Could you start your presentation?
Of course. Thank you so much. Thank you, Emmy. I appreciate the introduction. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar and presentation today. My name is Charlotte Russell-Green, and I'm Head of Recruitment and Admissions for the MBA programme at Cambridge. Now, for the next 20 minutes, I'm going to give you an overview of what the Cambridge MBA has to offer. And then for the remaining 40 minutes, there'll be the opportunity for you to ask your questions. So ideally, you will be leaving today feeling excited and energized and ready to start preparing for your application with all your questions answered and feeling fully prepared. So this is the big money question, okay? What is the Cambridge MBA going to deliver? What is it going to do for you? And this is what I'm going to cover over the next couple of slides. I'm going to be covering what the curriculum has to offer, what the careers provision has to offer, what living here is going to be like, and the industry connections that you'll have by just being here. And then, of course, I'll cover the fantastic plus to the Cambridge MBA, which is the college experience. But I think the most important thing to think about and to know is that the Cambridge MBA is going to deliver change, okay? It is going to bring change to your career. It is going to bring change to your outlook. It is going to bring change to your network, and it is going to bring change to your future opportunities. So the curriculum and the projects that we have available has been carefully and cleverly crafted to take you on a micro to macro journey, kind of signposted by these 4 key learning milestones, which are kind of in line with the practical projects that we have available. Okay, so it's an MBA at the University of Cambridge, okay? So it is rigorous, okay? It's academically challenging, it's going to be fast-paced, it's intense, but it's quite unique. It's extremely experiential. So of course, there is theory and there is classwork, but you have the opportunity to apply what you've learnt in the classroom into real life business experiences with these 4 live projects that we have. So you'll see here that in the first term, we have the Cambridge Venture Project, which is where you work with a live client, usually a local startup or organisation. And this runs alongside your studies in the first term. So this is your first opportunity for practical experience with a real life client, working on a contemporary business issue and a deliverable at the end to the client. So it's fantastic. It complements everything that you're learning in the first term. And it's, again, that sort of practical, collaborative experience to put into practice what you're learning. In the second term, so you'll see here that the terms have very different names. So it's not just term 1, term 2. It's actually Michaelmas, Lent term, Easter term, and summer term. But you'll get used to that. Once you're here, you'll get used to that. Don't worry. In the second term, so Lent term, you get the opportunity to do the Global Consulting Project, sometimes known as the GCP. So if you've read a bit about the Cambridge Mba already, you might recognise GCP, Global Consulting Project. This is really a fantastic opportunity. It's something that our alumni and current students always talk about because it's such a great experience. You go and you work on site with a client, a live client again on a contemporary business issue with a deliverable at the end. You're in a team of 4 or 5 people, and it's just a really fantastic, not just business opportunity, but also life experience as well. It's a great opportunity to expand your network, make an impression with a global company, and also some of our students get job opportunities through these consulting projects as well. In the third term, you have your concentration project, which is where you get to tailor the MBA a bit more to suit your specific interests. That's in term 3, and you present to a simulated board during that project as well. So you may not be working at board level immediately after your MBA, but this is an opportunity for you to develop your soft skills in impacting at board level that you'll be able to utilise in your long-term career as well as your immediate career. And then in the summer term, the 4th term, is really your opportunity to kind of to really apply yourself before you relaunch yourself into your post-MBA career. So we're quite flexible in the summer with regards to what you do. Some students do an internship. Some students do the international business study trip where they go abroad and do some careers treks and where you go and meet with some companies and networking and meet with some alumni and do some cultural immersion activities. So we're quite flexible in the summer because dependent on where you are with regards to your career search, you might want to be doing an internship or an individual consulting project, but that's really your opportunity to finalize everything that you've learned and relaunch yourself into your post-MBA career. So what are we looking for? These are some of the stats that I'll talk about in a moment, but I think it's important to cover what we're looking for. We have a very, very diverse class, so we're not looking for a certain type of person or a specific professional profile. We have people from a variety of different backgrounds. So we have people, of course, from consulting and finance, but we also have people from industry, so engineering backgrounds, tech backgrounds, medical, healthcare, legal backgrounds as well, public sector. So very, very diverse class. But what we are looking for is people who are obviously very ambitious, very highly motivated, but people with a curiosity to learn, team players as well. People, we talk about collaboration a lot, but we want people that are going to bring energy to collaborative learning, people that are going to be dynamic, innovative, and not afraid to challenge the status quo. And we're also looking for obviously smart people who are going to think creatively and work hard and contribute to the class. So that's what we're looking for. Hopefully that sounds like you. You're sitting there thinking, yes, that's me. Brilliant. That's what we're looking for. And I talked about diversity, and I think these stats show that. So we do, we have 47% women on the Cambridge Mba, which we're extremely proud of. It's been part of our strategy over the past few years to increase and sustain the representation of women on the Mba. Similarly, we have 46 different nationalities as well, which for a class size of around 200 is really high. And we try to keep that balance of nationalities balanced as well, so that it's not too highly represented of one profile. Similarly, with professional backgrounds as well, we want that balanced diversity because it makes a really fruitful and dynamic learning environment. The class size that we have, it's around 200 every year, and we find that that's the real sweet spot for us. It's big enough so that you are building an international, far-reaching, diverse network from the confines of the classroom, but small enough so that you build meaningful relationships with your classmates. You are going to work with everybody in the class. You're going to get to know everyone and be part of a real close-knit, tight community. It's also small enough so that you're not anonymous in the class. Everybody has their own identity. Everyone can make their own contribution. The team and faculty are going to know who you are. You're not just going to disappear amongst the numbers. So it's a real sweet spot for us, that class size. The averages, so 6 years, and the average age, they're similar pretty much every year. Same with the average GMAT as well. So when we report our average GMAT, we report the mean average. Some schools report the median, but we always report the mean. But conveniently this year, the median and the mean are the same. So it's 690. So that's the class profile. That's what we're looking for. So if you've done your research or you know a bit about Cambridge already, then you might be aware of the Cambridge phenomenon. Now, you look at this photo of Cambridge, it's beautiful. So if you've ever been lucky enough to come to Cambridge, you'll know that it's just such a wonderful, beautiful city. The architecture is just so aesthetically pleasing and historic, and, the stories of the people that have walked the streets, and the wonderful places to eat and drink, and the parks. We have cows and sheep in our parks. It's just such a beautiful, safe English city. But what you might not know is that within 50 miles of the city centre, we actually have what's called the Silicon Fen, which is Europe's equivalent of Silicon Valley. So we actually have the highest investment per capita in Europe, 5 times that of London. And as a result of that, as a result of this entrepreneurial ecosystem happening in Cambridge, there is a real hub of entrepreneurial activity resonating through the business school and through the MBA programme as a result. So we have our own incubator at the business school. We have our own research centre in entrepreneurship. We were one of the first business schools to introduce entrepreneurship as a core module on the MBA. Your practical projects, the Cambridge Venture Project is going to be usually working with a startup local to the area. There's lots of angel investors, lots of investment going into new business in Cambridge. So there really is, it's really a hub of entrepreneurial activity. So if you're interested in entrepreneurship or working at a startup or interested in tech or biotech, then Cambridge really is such an exciting city for that kind of activity. Now, I can imagine you're probably thinking, great, but what is it going to do for my career? That's the reason you're looking to do the MBA, right? It is an investment in yourself and in your short-term and long-term career. So if you are really interested in the career opportunities, then I do recommend that you look on our website and download a copy of our employment report, because there's so much data in there that you can drill down into to see what our alumni and students do and what they're able to achieve through the Cambridge MBA. But these are just some of the kind of top line stats. These stats we're extremely proud of every year as well, because I talked about earlier how the Cambridge MBA really does bring change, and it really, really does. So you'll see here that 98% of our class switched country, function, or industry. So almost all our class are switching something up in their career. They're changing something in their career. And nearly half of the class were able to do all three, change all three of those. We call it the triple jump. It's really hard to achieve, to switch country, function, and industry. But nearly half of our class were able to do that through 1 year on the Cambridge MBA. Something else that we're extremely proud of is the post-MBA employment stat. So within 3 months of finishing the MBA, 91% of our class are employed in their post-MBA role. So that's employed, and that's not even job offer, that's employed in a role, 91% within 3 months of graduating, finishing from the course. That's a stat that we're really proud of. That's something we consistently achieve. It's usually around the 90% mark, and something that we're really proud of. Now, you might recognize some of these companies listed here. These are some of our top recruiters from the Cambridge MBA every year. Again, diverse mix of companies that we have recruited from the Cambridge MBA. You know, we have a very diverse class, and as a result, we have diverse post-MBA career goals too. So these are some of our top recruiters. So how are our students able to achieve what they achieve in that careers employment report? So again, this circa 200 class size that we have, this sweet spot of 200 students, allows our careers team to work with you on a really personalized basis. So you will be speaking with our careers team. They will be drilling down and digging into what your motivations and career aspirations are. And by working with you on that one-to-one basis, you can craft together your careers journey, and they can signpost you to the relevant resources and events and workshops that you can use. So depending on what you're interested in, what your career goals are, our careers team will work with you and craft your careers journey so that you know what you're going to be doing throughout your year here, because there are so many different things available to you. You know, if you're looking to go into consulting, then there are taste-based interview practices. We have external careers coaches that can coach you on your interview prep and your application prep. We have people working in industry as part of the alumni network that come back and can connect you with people. If you're looking to go and work in a specific country, then we have location specialists that you can work with. So much available to you, but the careers team are going to be able to work with you to signpost you to the relevant events and relevant resources available to you. So it's that kind of personalized service that sets us apart. We have a wide variety of recruiter events as well. So companies that come back to us every year to recruit from our Cambridge MBA, companies that have specific application deadlines for our Cambridge MBA students as well. So lots of stuff available there. But it is very much down to what you make of it, because the careers team are there, the resources are there. But when you get here, it's all about working with the careers team, them knowing your motivations, and then being able to signpost you and you utilizing those resources to get to where you want to be in your post-MBA career. And of course, there's then ongoing support after the MBA as well in your long-term career. So the colleges. Now, the college experience really is a plus to the MBA experience. The collegiate system is a fantastic opportunity to expand your network and your experience beyond the MBA. So your college is where you're going to be living, eating, socializing. Each college has its own bar, its own restaurant. It has its own extracurricular activities. So if you wanted to join the rowing team, any kind of sport that you're interested in, there will be a team at your college. The debate team. If you're into wine or cheese, there's a wine and cheese society. Any society or interest whatsoever, and your college is going to have some sort of extracurricular activity surrounding this. Also, if you're coming to Cambridge and you're bringing your family, so you're bringing your partner or your family, then it kind of really lends itself well to this community feel, because there will be other students within your college who are also bringing partners and family. So you know that there's going to be a network for them to get involved in as well, and to make friends and feel part of the community. It really is a wonderful experience. I recommend that if you can come to Cambridge and visit Cambridge and have a look around the colleges. It's a wonderful experience. If not, then Google Images. If you have a look at the dining halls, there's this real, Harry Potter feel to the dining hall experiences, people dining by candlelight at their college dinners. It really is such a wonderful plus to the MBA. And not just that, but you're expanding your network as well. You're mixing with people who are studying such a wide variety of subjects, anthropology, astrophysics, law, such a wide variety of interests, and meeting people that you would never ever meet in normal life. So it really is a wonderful experience. And there is more information about that on our website as well, and videos that you can watch with current students and alumni talking about it. So I recommend that you watch those if you can. So making an application. So you might be in a situation where you are thinking about applying to start this September. If that's the case, then we have application deadlines. We have 2 left, one in April and one in May. So the final deadline is the 22nd of May if you're planning to apply to start this September. If you're not looking to apply for this September, but you're thinking next September, then the application portal will open at the beginning of July. And then round 1 will be September, round 2 will be October, and then round 3 will be January. So if you look on our website, the dates for this year are going to be similar next year, but the application portal for next year will open at the beginning of July. And first of all, congratulations for being so prepared as well and attending an event like this. This is a really good opportunity for you to gather all that information that you need ready for when you submit your application. Just a couple of things to cover on the application side. We accept both the GMAT and the GRE. You have to supply one of those things, the GMAT or the GRE, but we accept both. We don't have a preference for either. So if you find the GMAT is more suitable or the GRE is more suitable, take whatever test suits you best, because we take both and we don't have a preference for it. We only require one reference with the application. It has to be a professional reference, so someone that has worked with you in a professional capacity in a supervisory role, so a manager or someone that has supervised you. And it doesn't have to be your current supervisor either. We understand that sometimes it can be politically challenging to approach your current supervisor about providing a reference, so it can be from someone in a previous role as well. That's fine. If you're working in a family business, then we can't accept a reference from a relative. So in that instance, we could accept a reference from a client that you work with, or a mentor, professional mentor, we could accept too. Similarly, if you're an entrepreneur, so you own your own business, you have your own startup, again, we could accept a reference from a client or mentor or business partner. The English language requirement is there. It's quite lengthy, but it is on our website. So make sure that you have a look at our English language policy with regards to taking the TOEFL or the IELTS if English isn't your first language. And yeah, that's basically it on the application. Thank you very much. So that's an overview of the Cambridge Mba. Hopefully that you have found that useful, and it has generated some good questions for you to ask me. I'll open it up now to questions. Thank you very much, Emmy. I'll just hand back to you to lead the Q&A part of the webinar.
Yeah, thank you so much for your presentation. So can I reflect on the session by using your slides? So can you share your screen now?
Yeah.
今ご説明いただいたんですけれども、アルファでもよく MBA に関してご質問があるところをすごく丁寧にお話ししていただいていたので、少しスライドを使って日本語でも振り返りしようかなと思います。でその後、皆さんからいただいているご質問にもお答えしようと思いますので、はい、ちょっとまずスライドで見ていきたいと思います。Can you share your slides again? And
is it not working?
Yeah, and can you go back to the slides where the student profile are described?
Right, hold on a minute.
すごく丁寧に学校のこととかですね、あとはどういう生徒さんがいるかっていうところもお話しいただいていて、ご質問にもちょっと来ているので、後で詳しく伺っていこうと思うんですけども、ちょっと今スライドを出していただいている間に、私の方でもいくつかよく皆さんからいただくポイントかつよく気にされているポイントでお話していきたいと思います。これですね、クラスプロファイルというところで、アルファにご相談いただく方は、MBA も積極的に行きたいという方もいれば、やっぱりグローバル人材で、活躍していく上で MBA 必要かなと思ってるんですけど、どうですかねとか、自分の場合どうですかねっていう方が、むしろ後者の方がね、結構多いんですね。MBA 取得迷ってますみたいな方多いんです。で、その中でいただくご質問の多くは、ビジネスバックグラウンドがそんなにないとか、あとはビジネスやってきてるんだけれども、そんなにいわゆるマネジメント経験してないとかですね。あと業界でも例えばメーカーで営業しかやってないとか。で、今までの皆さんのイメージで言うと MBA って銀行とか商社とか、あとコンサルとかですね。そのあたりですかね。あと金融。なんかそういう業界の人が行くものだって思ってる方が多いんですけど、ここには細かいバックグラウンド書いてないですけど、まさにMBA にぴったり当てはまる、こういう平均的な人とか、なんかテンプレートみたいな人はいなくって、本当にいろいろなダイバースなバックグラウンドから来てるっていうふうにアドミッションの方がおっしゃってましたね。で、エンジニアリングとか、エンジニアみたいな、いわゆるそんなに事業開発とかビジネスやってるわけじゃない方もいますし、あとアルファだとお医者さんとか医療従事者の方とかですね。あともちろん営業しかやってなくて、そんなに経営の意思決定とか、すごくファイナンスやってるわけではないけれども、MBA に行ってるって方もたくさんいます。でむしろそういう方がビジネスを学んで、さらにキャリアアップしていこうっていうのがビジネススクールでもあるので、ぜひそういう方も、挑戦していただくといいと思います。あとはこういう人が欲しいよっていうところは、すごくね、いくつか項目でダイバースなバックグラウンド人たちをやっぱり求めようというので、すごく頭がいいとか、なんかすごいトップの企業にいるとかっていうことは、アドミッションの方一言もおっしゃってなくて、アンビシャス、アンビションのある方とか、あとはハイモチベーション、自分でもっと学んでいこうという方とかですね、あとは学ぶ意欲があるとか、あとはチームワークっていうのはどこでもよく言われてますけど、特にケンブリッジなんかはね、そこを重視している方が多いかなと思うんですけど、チームワークとか、あとチームになんかエネルギーをもたらしてくれるような人とかですね。それからあとスマートっていうことももちろん学校の勉強についていくためにはある程度必要かなっていうところもおっしゃってましたし、あとは挑戦するマインドセットとかっていうところですね。なので皆さんがどういうイメージをお持ちかわかんないんですけど、MBA は決して雑エリートみたいな人を求めてるわけでもなくって、そういろんな方がお互いに、ね、刺激し合って学ぶ場をやっぱり学校も作ろうとしているので、ぜひ挑戦していただくといいと思います。あとアプリケーションのところもよく聞かれるので、ちょっと補足しておくと、GMAT とか GRE がケンブリッジの場合は必要ですね。ただ、全くプレファレンスはないっておっしゃっているので、アルファの場合は、GRE の方が比較的点数取りやすいって言って受ける方が多いですね。あと推薦状なんかもね、すごく丁寧に解説していただいてましたけれども、上司からなかなかもらうのが難しいとかってね、ポリティカリー難しいってアドミッションの方おっしゃってましたけれども、社内政治的にもらうのが難しいっていう方はいろいろね、そのあたりも別に直接の上司じゃなくて、違うプレビアスの上司とか、いろんなやり方がありますし、そこもアルファでもアドバイスしているので、ぜひ聞いていただければと思います。ちょっと皆さんからいただいているご質問にお答えしていきたいと思います。So we will move on to the Q&A session with audience. There are lots of questions, and the first question. So じゃ最初のご質問ですね。日本人の方はどんなバックグラウンドの方がいらっしゃるのでしょうか。また卒業後、イギリスで働いている方はどれくらいいるのでしょうかということで、伺っていきたいと思います。ですね。それで最初のご質問になるかな。So the first question from the audience is, what kind of professional background do Japanese students have, and how many Japanese students are working at the UK after the graduation?
Thank you. Thank you for coming at me with that question. So with regards to Japanese students, we have people from a variety of different backgrounds actually that come from the course. We have people coming from government background. We have people coming from finance. We have, it's quite a wide variety of backgrounds. We've had engineers before, people from the military. So quite a diverse background. There's not necessarily a standard background when we're talking about candidates coming from Japan. With regards to those now working in the UK, that's quite a specific question. I recommend looking in the employment report for the outcome of that. That does vary depending on the year, because again, with a class size of 200, the percentage can change each year depending on who. I don't know the specific stat, but it should be in the employment report.
Thank you. なので、バックグラウンド、本当にいろいろなバックグラウンド、金融とかもコンサルとかエンジニアリングとかいろいろなバックグラウンドの方がいますっていうのと、あとは卒業後のは、キャリアレポートもね、ぜひ学校のホームページにあるので、イギリスで働いている方の割合とか、あとはどういう企業に入っているのかっていうのも詳しく書いてあると思いますので、そちらもぜひ見ていただくといいと思います。では、次のご質問がですね。はい、貴重なお話ありがとうございます。起業にもフォーカスされていると伺いましたが、在学中や卒業後、すぐに起業されている方もいるのでしょうかということで、はい。So, you said your program focusing on entrepreneurship and the very first MBA program that have the very entrepreneurship focused project. So, do students start your business during the study period, or is there student who start your business immediately after the graduation?
Thank you. Thank you for that question. We have, so on the MBA, it's very, very intense. So we don't have many people starting a business during the MBA because it's more about kind of the actual capacity to do that. However, what we do have is we have people that come on the MBA, they attend some of the events hosted by the Entrepreneurship Centre. So we have an event called Enterprise Tuesday, which is where entrepreneurs from across the university come. It's a networking event. There's also a guest speaker there. But it's a good networking opportunity because the university actually has the largest extracurricular society. The Entrepreneurship Society is the largest society at the university. So the university has lots of budding entrepreneurs with business ideas, really specific education and academic profiles in interests and areas, but they don't necessarily have the business acumen to launch a startup. So they come to these events, and what has happened in the past is these people have met with students on the MBA who are interested in entrepreneurship, and people have met their business partners at these events. So it's a really good networking opportunity to meet people who might have a specific product, whether it's a tech product or a healthcare product, that they have, but they don't have the business acumen to launch it. Meeting with an MBA student who has obviously developed that business acumen through the MBA program, and you've kind of got this sort of this kind of acts as a catalyst for some of these companies starting up. And then we have our own incubator in the business school as well, which you can apply to. So once you've finished the MBA, you could then potentially be going straight into that incubator, because if you do have a business plan or you have a startup idea, then you can have that working through the incubator. But I think because there are so many events, networking opportunities and angel investors around Cambridge, if you are interested in entrepreneurship, then there are so many opportunities for you to to meet partners, to meet investors, to develop your business idea, to develop your startup idea, and kind of get feedback from faculty and people working in that area to kind of hone that business plan. So that then when you come to finishing the MBA and if you apply for the incubator, you can then actually start to get something coming off the ground. But similarly, you might not have a business idea, but because there are so many startups happening around Cambridge and so many of our alumni who have started startups, you could potentially just have a job opportunity of working with a startup after the MBA, kind of getting into an early stage startup and developing it from there. And then in say 5-10 years time, working on your own business idea. There are lots of different opportunities. And because of this now 2-year postgraduate working visa, then the opportunities for working in startups now are absolutely amazing, because before you would have to be sponsored by an employer to work in the UK. And because that is such a complicated system, it's mainly just the larger, the global multinational organizations that sponsor visas, because it's just so much legislation around it. It was really, really complicated. But now you have this 2-year postgraduate visa, then you could work anywhere in the UK with any company. So you could be working with a startup, a much smaller organization that previously wouldn't have been able to work with you because they couldn't sponsor your visa. So there's a really good opportunity for people looking to work in startups to come here and work with them after the MBA.
Yes, thank you so much. That seems a fantastic opportunity for international students. はい。ということで、ご質問がですね、起業をどのぐらいの人がすぐする人がいるんですかっていうようなご質問だったんですけど、起業は、学校でもインキュベーターがあったりとか、あとはいろいろな投資家さん、VC とか、エンジェル投資家さんとか、まずあとはスタートアップ界隈の方とネットワーキングイベントがあったりとかもするので、そういう機会を利用するのもすごくいいというふうにおっしゃってましたし、あと卒業した後にもちろん起業される方もいるということと、すぐに起業しなくても、例えば、将来自分で事業を起こしたいということで、まずは現地のスタートアップに就職をして、実際にスタートアップで、いろんなことを学んでから5年とか、数年してから自分で事業をするっていうのも、そういう方もいますよっておっしゃってましたね。で、特に今はポストグラデュエートビザっていう、卒業したら2年間イギリスでどんな職業でも働けるよって、それはそれこそ起業っていうのも、自営業というかですね、そういうセルフエンポロイドっていう方もイギリスに残れるようなシステムになっているので、セルフエンポロイドだったりとか、あとはスタートアップ、アーリーステージのスタートアップに入ることも今はできると。昔はできなかったんですよね。大企業しかビザ、ワーキングビザを発行できなかったので、お金がかかるのでですね。なので、昔はそういうことが難しかったんですけど、今はそういう機会が、イギリス国外から来ている人たちにも開かれている。で、それはすごくアドミッションの方も強調されてたので、ぜひ皆さん、そのポストグラデュエートビザとかも使いながら、企業でもスタートアップでも、あるいはもちろん大企業の就職でもイギリスでね、される機会が得られるんじゃないかなと思います。アルファでもちなみに、そうですね、イギリスに実際に金融機関に就職している方とかもいますし、あとは結構海外経験でもともとイギリスに小さい頃とかも含めていた方なんかは、英語力とか、あとはイギリスのなんていうんでしょう、感覚とか文化とかの慣れてるっていうところとかも含めて、結構ですね、それこそ外資系の金融、投資銀行に入ったりしている方も中にはいますね。はい。あと現地の VC とかに入っている方もいましたね。次ですね。日本人やインターナショナル生徒でケンブリッジ卒後にロンドンの金融街などで働く人はいますか？アメリカと比べて、イギリスはあまり外国人採用に、積極的ではない印象ですが、実際はいかがでしょうかということですね。So, the next question is also the working at the UK. So, are there any Japanese or international students who are working at the UK, especially in financial district? And I'm concerned that it would not easy to get job at UK compared to in the US, because US are very aggressive to hire international student at present.
Yeah, absolutely. I get that question. Thank you for asking that. And I can understand why that might be a reason for apprehension. But I think that the reason why the UK introduced this 2-year postgraduate visa was to show that in a post-Brexit Britain, we are committed to recruiting skilled and experienced professionals to work in the UK. So, you know, I think it has really opened up the market for international students to come here and study and to actually work here for 2 years after the MBA. Now, the great thing about this visa is that, again, before this visa was introduced, you could only stay in the UK for 3 to 6 months after you graduated. And that is really such a short space of time to try and get recruited by a company here. But not just that, you would have to have been sponsored by a company. And in order for a company to sponsor MBAs, there is so much legislation and paperwork and expense to go through to do that a lot of companies just weren't able to do it. So they didn't sponsor international MBA students. Now, this 2-year postgraduate visa has completely changed that. And now any company can recruit any international student that has studied here in the UK. So it gives you 2 years to work with a company in the UK and then work out how you can work here and stay here in the long term. So you have 2 years to work for a company and plan your strategy to stay here longer than the 2 years. So it shows that commitment from the UK that we do want skilled business professionals working here. Now, because of that, we do find that international students coming from Japan are able to secure jobs in the UK after graduating. Of course, it is a challenge because you are coming somewhere where you don't have the network that you have back at home. So there is an element of having to do pre-MBA prep. So our careers team talk a lot about activating your existing network through the company that you work with or an international office in the UK, connecting with people there, doing informational interviews, connecting with people over LinkedIn, you know, doing a lot of pre-MBA prep so that you're building a network in the place that you want to work in after the MBA. And then if working in the UK is your primary goal, then that is something that you work with the careers team from the start. So, you know, it's again, tapping into that network, tapping into the recruiters that you're interested in. But there's no reason why you wouldn't achieve it. And yes, we do have candidates from Japan working in the UK, in London, in the financial sector post-MBA. Again, it is a challenge in the way that it is for any international student, but our students do achieve it. You know, our stats from the careers report show that our students are able to change location, they're able to change industry and function. But again, it's down to the person and what your motivators and drivers are and how much work you're willing to put in.Thank
you so much. はい。なので、ここでも特に現地就職したい方にとっては、すごくポジティブな情報が多かったんじゃないかなと思いますけど、やっぱりその 2-year postgraduate visa ができてからは、企業がですね、今まではすごくペーパーワークも多かったし、とにかくお金もかかるし、ハイアリング採用するのにとにかくお金と、やっぱりワークロードがすごく多かったんですけど、その 2-year postgraduate visa ができてからは、どんな企業でもですね、インターナショナルスチューデント、イギリス国外からの人も雇いやすくなったので、そこはね、すごくオープンになっているということですね。で、実際に金融とかも就職している方はいますし、学校の方でもそういったジョブネットワーキングのイベントもあったりっておっしゃってましたし、企業が学校に来ることもあるって言ってましたし、あとはリンクトインとかですね。ただとにかく現地で就職したいということがプライマリーゴールの方は、とにかくもうプレ MBA、アルファでもそうなんですけど、入学前の段階からかなりいろいろですね、リンクトインとか、とにかくネットワークを使いながら、実際の就職口を探っていくっていうことをやってるっておっしゃってましたね。一番の多分ハードルとしては、やっぱり現地の方に比べてネットワークとか、つながりがね、何もないところにこう、ポンと行かれる方も多いと思うので、そこはとにかく動く量とか、努力というかですね、粘り強さがすごく大事だっておっしゃってましたけど、十分チャンスあるんじゃないかなと思います。アルファでも大体皆さん MBA は、現地の就職もそうですし、それでない方もそうなんですけど、もう合格したらすぐに動き始めてます。なので、今年、 もう受かってる方はもしかしたら動画見てないかもしれないんですけど、今年も行く方がいらっしゃったら、あるいはこれから MB 受けるよって方がいたら、受かったらすぐ就活に向けて動き始めるというのは一つのキーだと思っておいていただくといいと思いますし、アルファでもそのあたりかなりね、ノウハウとか成功実績が溜まってますので、ぜひご相談いただければと思います。はい、次ですね。1年のプログラムですと、いつインターンをするのでしょうかということで伺いたいと思います。So you have a 1-year MBA program. So do students have the opportunity to do a full-time internship during the study period?
Yes, so we have, it's quite a unique program because it is very, very practical. I believe it's the program with the most practical opportunities on an MBA program in the world. So we're quite highly ranked with regards to practical opportunities. So there are sort of two opportunities for doing full-time internships on the MBA. The Global Consulting Project, which happens at the end of the second term, is where you go and work on site with a client for a month. You're in a team of 4 or 5 people, but some of the clients that we've had for the Global Consulting Project include Google, Amazon, Wikipedia, Expedia, not Wikipedia, I apologize. Net-a-Porter, we've had clients such as McLaren, Formula One, Manchester United, we've had HSBC, we've had BlackRock, so a wide variety of companies who host global consulting projects with us. You get to apply for that global consulting project as well, so it doesn't get assigned for you. You choose your top 3 preferences, and then the client decide who they want working on the project. So that's a live practical opportunity for a month in the middle of your studies. And then in the 4th term, the summer term, you can do an internship with a company. So that's your opportunity to do an official internship, but you have the Global Consulting Project in the middle of the year as well. So you have what I call two internship opportunities, really. Although the Global Consulting Project isn't an official internship, but it is a month of real life working experience for a client. And gives you the same sort of impact opportunities and business connections that an internship would. But the internship opportunity is in the summer term, so the final term.
Thank you. なので、個々に企業さんでインターンシップするっていうよりは、セカンドターム、1年なので秋に入って、だから春学期が終わって夏ですね。セカンドタームの終わりに、グローバルコンサルティングプロジェクトって言ったかな。かなり実践的なプロジェクトがあって、1ヶ月間、企業さんと実際にオンサイト、企業さんに行って、だいたい5人くらいのグループなんかで、実際に企業さんと一緒に、働くという、プログラム、ピリオドがあるということで、そこの中でかなり実践的なところで、インターンシップやられてるとおっしゃってましたね。なので、実際に Google とか Amazon とか、そういった本当に多分皆さんが就職したいような企業さんとインターンシップができる、インターンシップじゃないな、プロジェクトができるとおっしゃってたので、それはね、かなりいい機会かなと思います。よくアルファでもご紹介している、ハルトさんなんかもね、かなりそういう実践的な、いわゆるなんていうんですか、グローバルコンサルプロジェクトみたいなことをやられていて、そこで実際の企業さんと一緒にワークするっていうのをかなり1ヶ月とか長い期間やるんですよね。そうするとそこでネットワーキングもできますし、でもね、就活にとってもいいかなと思います。So how do students choose their where they would do internship during, internship, not internship, but do the consulting project?
Yeah, so in the second term, so the interesting thing about the Global Consulting Project is that you can actually self-source the project as well. So the business development team have a lot of projects available covering a wide variety of industries, a wide variety of contemporary business issues to work on as well. So, things like AI, sustainability, ESG, all sorts of contemporary business issues, very current issues. So they have lots of those projects available with some of the clients that I mentioned earlier as well. But what you can also do is you can self-source. So if you have a particular company in mind that you're interested in, then you can self-source that as well. As long as you can get some fellow candidates, fellow students that are interested in it as well, then you can self-source that. I'd say about 10% of the class self-source the project. So that's an option for you too. But out of those projects available from the business development team, you apply for that project. So you state what your first, second, and third choice are. And then it's ultimately down to the client who decides who they want on their project. So it's a bit like applying for a job in that sense. You apply for it and it's the client who decides. But most people get their top 3 choice. And yeah, if you speak to some of the alumni network and the current students, the students are currently doing the GCP now, and they're having an absolutely great time. So if you speak to the alumni network and the current students, you will hear wonderful things about the Global Consulting Project. People have an absolutely fantastic time on it.
Thank you so much. なので、どうやってプロジェクトがアサインされるかっていうのを伺ったんですけど、生徒さんが大体1、2、3、第3希望まで出して、それで自分でアプライするっていう形みたいですね。で、受け入れ先の企業の方がそこからセレクションをするっていうことなので、すごく実際のハイアリングプロセスと似てるかなと思います。で、卒業生の方もとにかく、で、大体皆さん第3希望までは、のうちのどれかには入れるっておっしゃってたのと、あと卒業生の方なので満足度がすごくとにかく高いっていうふうにおっしゃってたので、それはとてもいいですね。なんか1年だとインターンシップできないっていうのが一番、デメリットと思う方にはそうかもしれないんですけど、かなりね、企業の選択肢もいっぱいあるっておっしゃってましたし、実際 Google とか Amazon なんかでもやってるっていうことなので、ほぼほぼ実際のインターンに近いような形でできるんじゃないかなと思います。はい。次ですね。またよく聞かれると思いますが、オックスフォードや、LBS と比較して優位性のあるポイントはどこでしょうかということで、So the next question is, this might be a very common question, but what do you think are the advantageous point compared to advantageous point of Cambridge compared to Oxford and LBS, so UK MBA?
Yeah, it is a common question. I appreciate being asked actually, because some people can feel apprehensive about asking about, comparing to other business schools, but it's good to have these conversations, I think. So, all 3 MBA programs are top MBA programs. They're highly ranked by the FT. They're solid MBA programs. So with regards to education, you're going to get a good MBA. I think what it ultimately comes down to is your learning preferences, the culture potentially that you're interested in as well, because the careers teams working within these programs are all excellent. The curriculum you're going to get is all excellent as well, but they all have very, very different cultures, different learning styles. So, the class sizes are very different as well. LBS is a much larger class size. Oxford is a larger class size than us. We're actually the smallest class size out of the 3. We have a very, very practical MBA program. So 2 live consulting projects and an internship opportunity as well. It's highly collaborative as well. So you're always working within study groups and breakout sessions with other people. There's lots of peer-to-peer learning and connecting the network on the Cambridge MBA. So people do talk about collaboration, but the Cambridge MBA really is very, very collaborative and very, very practical. If you come to the business school as well, you'll notice that there's a very, very different atmosphere there. So Cambridge, it's professional, but there is a real kind of laid back attitude. It's not hierarchical. The faculty are present. So faculty are all located within our building. They are around, they're in the common room, they're in the canteen. Connecting with faculty is quite common for our students. They're not difficult to get hold of. Everybody's kind of around, staff are around, the careers team are around. The collaborative ethos kind of reverberates throughout the entire business school. So it's very, very connecting, very, very connected. And obviously the benefit of the collegiate system as well, when you're comparing to LBS, studying at LBS It's fantastic. You know, I would never ever speak badly about another program because it's a great program, but you would be, you know, living anywhere in London. You know, you're not necessarily living close to your network on the MBA. You know, you have to source your own accommodation. You could be based anywhere, but when you're at a collegiate university, you are part of a college, a member of a college. You're going to be living in college accommodation. You know where all your classmates are living. You know where people are based. There's a real kind of community connected feel when you come to a collegiate university, because everything about it is connected. Everything about it is focused around this community. But yeah, good question. Thank you.
Thank you. なので、学校によってね、本当に特色があって、いくつかの特色は言われていたんですけど、まず一つ目はですね、特にこれは、キャンパスビジットとかアルファでも毎年ってか、1年に何回かやっていて、つい1月とか、あと11月とかにも行ってきたんですけども、学校に行くと本当に雰囲気とか、生徒さんのキャラクターとかっていうのも全然違います。それは今、ご質問にあったケンブリッジ、オックスフォード、LBS だけじゃなくて、もうどの学校も本当に違うんですよね。で、実際にウェブサイトとかで見たのとではわからない本当に違いがあるので、ぜひね、キャンパスビジットは皆さんお勧めします。アルファでもちょうど、3月の末、もう結構人数がいてですね、一旦締め切ったんですけど、キャンパスビジット3月の末にイギリスも含めてアレンジしているので、ぜひ興味がある方はですね、行っていただければまだギリギリ間に合うと思うので、そこは、ぜひ行っていただければと思います。で、ちょっとね、回答に話を戻すと、まずクラスサイズが違うっておっしゃってましたね。LBS はかなり人数がとにかく多いということと、で、ケンブリッジはイギリスの中では一番人数が少なくって、かなりアットホームというかですね、かなりコラボレーティブな雰囲気っていうのをすごく強調されてましたね。皆さんでプロジェクトをやるときも一緒だし、グループワークをやるときも一緒だしっていうことで、すごくハイリープロフェッショナルな人たちが集まってるんですけど、なんかヒエラルキーがあって、なんか一人一人個々にすごくライバルみたいな感じでやってるっていうよりは、すごくコラボレーションがとてもあるっておっしゃってました。あとは、教授ですね、ファカルティの人たちが、先生とか教授の人たちが、すごくあちこちにいて、食堂とかですね、学校の校舎とか、あとは、外のところとかいろんなところにいて、すごくそれも、コミュニケーションがしやすい環境っておっしゃってましたね。意外と、ケンブリッジとかね、とてもアカデミックな雰囲気、イメージがあるので、なんか先生はすごく威厳があって、なんか近づけないとか、そういう雰囲気なのかなと思ってる方もいるかもしれないんですけど、アメリカとかもそうなんですけど、本当に教授とかはですね、すごく生徒さんとの交流を大切にしていて、私が言ってたコロンビアとかもそうなんですけど、すごく一緒にランチを食べながら話したりとか、そういうね、ファカルティの方とすごく深くつながれるっていうのも、現地の MBA の魅力の一つじゃないかなと思います。あとはやっぱりさっきおっしゃってたコンサルティングプロジェクト、多分1ヶ月間企業にそれこそオンサイトで行って一緒に仕事するっていうのは、ケンブリッジならではなんじゃないかなと思います。それはね、本当に特に現地就職とかしたい人にとってはいいかなと思いますし、あと日本で就職するときもそういう経験があると、すごくアピールにもなるんじゃないかなと思います。はい。そんなとこですかね。おっしゃってたのはそんなとこでした。ぜひ、どこがなんかトップとかそういうのよりも、やっぱり自分に合った雰囲気の学校に行くっていうのもすごく大事なので、アルファでもいろいろな方見てるので、結構皆さんご相談に来たときに、なんかケンブリッジが合いそうとかですね、そういうのもお伝えしたりしてるので、ぜひご相談いただければと思います。はい。次ですね。最後のご質問かなと思うんですけど、ケンブリッジ大学の入試はオックスフォード大学同様難解な面接試験があると思いますが、MBA プログラムの入試でもそのような面接試験は課されているのでしょうかという面接の話ですね。So the next question is the application process. Do prospective students have an interview during the application process?
Right, yeah, absolutely. So once you have applied for the MBA via the online application system, then you usually hear back within about 3 weeks whether you are invited to interview. Now, everybody for the Cambridge MBA is interviewed either by a member of faculty or by a member of the senior leadership team. And that is a 30-minute interview virtually. It can often be more of a conversation between two people as opposed to an interview. However, I do tell people to prepare for the interview as they would a job interview. You know your CV inside out, know your application inside out. If you have expressed a specific career goal, then research it and be prepared to talk about it. But it does usually end up being more of a conversation, as opposed to just questions and answers. And then after that interview, within 3 weeks, you hear whether you've been offered a place on the program, and all being well, that will be the case. And then you kind of progress through the admission system.
Thank you. なのでもちろん面接はあって、アプリケーションを出して、その審査が通った方が面接を受けると。で、面接はCV とか、CV とかエッセイとかっていうのは、見られていないので、MBA の面接はですね、実際に面接官は在校生とか、フルタイムだと在校生じゃない、失礼しました、卒業生がやったりとかっていうケースが、あとアドミッションがあったりっていう、いろいろなケースがあるんですけど、実際に皆さんのレジュメとかエッセイとかを、その面接官が見てる場合と見てない場合があるんですよね。で、あまりそのレジュメとかエッセイというよりは、すごくカンバセーショナルな面接ということで、ただ自分が話したいトピック、自分が伝えたいことは、すごくね、ちゃんと準備してくださいっておっしゃってたんですけど、面接をして、それからだいたい3週間くらいで、合格とか、最終的な決定がされるっていうことをおっしゃってましたね。はい。なので、だいたいどこの MBA も面接がほとんどそのフルタイムで、だいたいそれこそトップ50とか、多くの学校は面接があるんじゃないかなと思いますね。MBA 以外の大学院だとないところなんかもありますけど、MBA はほとんどあるんじゃないかなと思います。はい。ということで、ご質問は以上ですかね。皆さん、たくさんのご質問ありがとうございました。So that's all for the Q&A session. Could you give us some closing remarks at the end of this webinar?
Of course. Yeah. So thank you so much for having me today, Emmy. Thank you to everybody who's listening, and thank you to everyone who asked questions as well. We are a very welcoming team on the Cambridge Mba. So if you do have any further questions, please do email. There is an email address on our website, but also if you want to write it down now, it's mba-inquiries@jbs.cam.ac.uk. That email address is on our website though, so please don't panic if you didn't catch that. Any questions at all, please do contact us. We also have a lot of events happening as well over the next year or so please do attend those if you can. If you ever find yourself in the UK or Cambridge, then please do let us know, and we'd be happy to welcome you too. Our alumni network in Japan is really active and really connected as well, so please do reach out to our alumni there too. As well as our current students. We hope to receive an application from you soon.
Thank you so much for your great presentation and Q&A session. はい。なので、ご質問がある方は、ケンブリッジ、直接ですね、シャーロットさんにメール、してくれてもいいよっておっしゃってましたし、まずは、ワンクッションね、アルファに、いろいろ聞いていただいて、アルファからも、特に興味がある方なんかは、この人ね、すごく、こういうストロングなバックグラウンドがあって、ケンブリッジ興味ありますよっていう形で、推薦というかですね、ご紹介もできると思いますし、結構そうするとですね、アプリケーションもスムーズに進む方も多いので、ご興味がある方は、まずはいつでも無料相談でも入れていただければと思います。はい。ということで、今からですね、本当に半年ぐらい十分準備期間がありますし、本当に素晴らしい、今日伺って、実際にやっぱりコンサルティングプロジェクトはね、本当に素晴らしいなと思いましたし、ぜひ皆さん興味ある方は、やっぱりケンブリッジの学歴も、ステータスも手に入りますし、就職のチャンスもね、現地でもかなりあるということなので、いつでもご相談いただければと思います。はい。それではまたね、いろいろアドミッションの方とかをお呼びして、セッションもやっていきたいと思いますので、引き続き、YouTube も見ていただければと思います。Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.